You made it back just in time for another episode of Fox Can Fix It. The radiator on my 1982 Honda Civic started leaking, and I fixed it with one of my Fox Can Fix It stickers and some clear paint, and that has actually held for 2 months. But driving to work the other day, I saw some steam. Got to work, looked, top of the radiator by the stickers definitely wet. That temporary repair has failed, which is okay because the radiator I ordered finally got here. And by finally, I mean it got here like a couple days after I did that last repair, but I've just been too lazy to fix it because it was already fixed. First thing we'll do here is drain the antifreeze that's currently in the system. We're gonna need that out of there because we're removing most of the system. While that radiator drains, I just thought on this side I'd show you. What I did was I clamped off the low radiator hose with just needle nose vice grips and the fuel line that I put on them to keep the hose from getting damaged. That way I don't have to drain everything in here because most of it's good coolant. We're just gonna do radiator and whatever's in the bottom of that hose, hopefully. Maybe it won't work and maybe it's gonna go everywhere anyways. And while it's draining, what I can do is I can take off a separate hose. And most of this job is just gonna be a 10mm socket and ratchet. There we go. Perfect. All right, the clamp for the low radiator hose is right there facing straight up so I can get to it. But I'm gonna use some ridiculously long 1/4" drive extensions to do it. They don't have to be wobble ones, but I couldn't find regular non-wobble ones. So there you go. One wobble, one non-wobble. One tuck, one no tuck. There we go. Minimal amount of coolant lost. I'll just put that lower hose right there. All right, we got everything off. Let's see if we can get this thing out of here without taking this cooling fan off. Get off of there. There we go. Oh, something's attached. Oh, just this. There we go. All right. One radiator with one fan. All right, on the left is the original radiator, which is for the 1.5 liter engine. On the right is the one for the 1.3 liter engine. And one of the differences between the two is the one for the 1.5 is, I don't know, what, 4, 5, 6 inches longer than the one for the 1.3. And the fan switch is actually in the neck of this lower hose on this one. Mounting points look to be in different spots, but there are enough holes drilled in the car for either one because this car obviously came with either engine, so that's not going to be a thing. Necks look the same, that's good. So I guess what we need to do next is get this cooling fan off and make sure that it bolts into the same holes that are in that radiator. Otherwise, we may have problems. And these are all still 10mm rusted, but 10mm. Hopefully they come out. All right. All right, the whole thing can move, that's fine. Alrighty, now I'm hoping that these holes line up over here somewhere. All 4 line up. That's a relief. The only question now is, should we spray paint that black? Yeah, sure, why not? I'm just gonna scuff this up with some Scotch-Brite and then we'll hit it with some black engine enamel. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we will make it look a little bit nicer. Now, not that I really need to, but for demonstration purposes only, I'm gonna protect this sticker. And the way I'm gonna do that is just the classic way with a little bit of grease. If we just rub some grease on top of this sticker, that paint is not going to stick to it, and we'll be able to wipe it off as soon as it dries. Whoop, just like that. All right, time to paint. Today's choice is Duplo Color Engine Gloss Black. Painting these fan blades is probably going to throw them out of balance. You just watch. All right. If you think that paint's going to make any difference in how this fan works, let me know in the comments. Until then, I'm going to let this dry. All right, here's the next interesting little thing that we're going to have to do. You notice there is a radiator mounting pad here. There is one at the far end there, and there's this hole right here. Well, this hole is for the shorter radiator that we have. So we've got to take that bushing and just move it down to here. Oh, it also holds the AC condenser. I see. Well, guess we're going to be loosening that up then. It's really not that big a deal. The AC condenser is held in by 2 bolts, one here and one down there. So we'll just pull those and just move this condenser up enough that I can slide that bushing out and move it over to the center hole. Here's that bushing, and it sits on the condenser here and on the radiator here, and it just has this little bumpy piece that goes down the hole. So we're just gonna slide that over to the middle and we'll be good. Okay. As you can see, I've now swapped this one over from the far end to the middle. Cooling fan's been sitting out in the sun for a few minutes. It's probably dry enough. Ooh, maybe don't drag the new radiator on that though. Let's see, this goes like that. That's that. Next, we've got to, oh, hello birds. That was crazy. We've got to get this switch put into here. There we go. Well, the good thing is I can actually show you how this sits in the coolant on this one. We'll do that here in a second. All right, check this out. So this coolant temperature switch, you can see down the neck of this lower radiator hose, there it is. It just sticks right out in the stream. And as the coolant gets hotter, whatever's inside here expands, touches, closes the contacts here, and turns this fan on. There you go. Interesting. Lastly, but well, I guess it is leastly because it's lastly, we're gonna need these two bushings for the upper mounting bracket. These just slide right into here. 1, 2. And we should be all set to throw this new radiator in. It's so tiny. It's cute. Definitely more convenient to put in. I'll tell you that. Started. It's got to go on with this, so we'll just do that now, I guess. That's one. Found a comparable clamp to the factory one. Looks good. All right. Got that lower hose on. And plug that fan switch back in. And again, it does not matter which side of the switch goes where. It really doesn't. Well, I guess now we have to deal with that upper hose issue, huh? This is the upper radiator hose, and the old neck came this way and made a 90. This one comes straight out. Not sure how we're gonna deal with that yet. I might be able to cheat and twist this hose just a little bit for now until I can find one at the parts store. Yes, I think that'll work. I think if I do that and I cut it, it'll work. I think that'll fit. Come on, get on there. All right, this hose is gonna require a little bit of grease. It's not a thing I would normally do, but from time to time, a little bit of grease on the inside of the hose will help you along, especially when you're cutting down hoses, trying to make things fit. Don't need a lot, just a little bit to slip it over. Hopefully. There we go. Close enough. So with that cut, you can see it's not kinked right now, but we're getting close at this end. It's still open, but that's close. It's not gonna last long. I could probably shorten up that end and maybe help it a little bit, but I don't really see the point. We're gonna have to find an upper hose for it. But while we're waiting on that, look, magic. See? Grease that sticker, let the paint dry, wipes right off. Get the corners too. Don't want that sticker to look like it's been painted or something. There we go. All right, last couple things to tidy up here. I've got to plug this fan back in. Take my pliers off of that lower hose. See, those work. Those work really well. You don't need to go buy the expensive ones. You can just use those. Fan switch, fan switch. I don't know which one plugged into that. Our fans are plugged back in, so we should be good there. And we got to put this back on. And hopefully I have a spring clamp that fits. Oh yeah, I think that will work. Alright, new spring clamp there, we're good. Oh yeah, speaking of clamps, just put this AC hose clamp thingy back on too. The overflow hooked back up, the fan is plugged in, upper hose is on but sketchy, lower hose is on and fine, fan switch plugged back in, time for coolant. Oh, there we go. All right, radiator's top off for now. And we're still good on the reservoir, so only thing left to do is start this and work the air out of that system by basically just letting it run. All right, the temperature gauge just hit half. Cooling fan came on, so we're good to go there. That's really all I was waiting for. I wanted the cooling fan to kick on to make sure it was gonna actually work, which it did. I don't know why it wouldn't work. It's plugged into the same plug it was plugged into before with a good coolant temperature sensor, but I wanted to make sure. So, no leaks right now. Cooling fan works just fine. Temperature gauge is in the middle. I think we're done. The only thing we got left to do is I'm gonna have to find an upper radiator hose for the smaller engine, the 1.3, because that hose isn't gonna last forever like that. It's a temporary fix, and I know that. 1.3 liter radiator in a 1.5 engine car, it's kind of like 5 pounds of you-know-what in a 10-pound bag. It's plenty of room. That's gonna do it for today, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. That way, hopefully, if all goes well, I'll see you next time.